Well, our guest right now is someone who's going to walk us through a part of the economy which I think many of us don't quite grasp. We don't talk about it a lot because I guess it's relevant to a portion, or we only talk about one side of the equation, and that is, oh my gosh, there are so many options if you want a job right now, and you can demand more, you can ask for more money, the market's gone up, and you need to because the prices of everything's gone up. The impact on small business can be quite complicated in the midst of a climate like that. And from christianjobs.com.au, Andrew Thonemann is our guest right now. Because, Andrew, there is another side of the economy, and that is the employers. And the more difficult it gets for small business, the more this kind of puts pressure on the businesses staying open. And, of course, COVID has given us plenty of things to worry about already.
Yes, Luke, it's been a very difficult time for everybody. Of course, employers in particular, and certain industries are have felt it more than others. We all know about the hospitality industry not being able to find any staff, but that's really just the tip of the iceberg. It runs a lot deeper than that, and you have to sort of look at the reasons why people aren't finding staff. You know, in America, they had what's called the Great Resignation, where not everybody, but a lot of people just threw in their jobs. And we were expecting to see that here in Australia. It hasn't happened so much, but I think it's more of a great reset that we're experiencing.
Well, let's walk through that. Like, what does that mean, the reset versus the resignation?
Well, people aren't necessarily, they're resigning, but they're actually moving into some new areas because of what's been happening. They've had time to think about what they do and the value they're adding to society. They've been thinking about, hey, I enjoyed working from home. I like working from home. I don't want to go back to the office. They might have worked in hospitality for years, and then during COVID, they've reset their career. They've moved into other areas. I was speaking to somebody the other day who was in hospitality all their lives, and now they're working for Coles. And I said, why Coles? And they said, well, if we go into another lockdown, I won't be unemployed. So that's why I called it a reset.
Yeah, I've got a friend and a colleague who has been a veterinarian for a number of years, and after quitting after a couple of decades, became a puppeteer over just recent times. And it was just, there was, in the climate, there was less tolerance for what they had to put up with, and the challenges and all the things that kind of kept chewing away at your soul, but if it paid the bills. But then in this great reset, as you talk about, then suddenly people go, but is it worth it?
That's right. They're stopping and thinking about what they've been doing. And of course, if you just keep doing the same thing over and over and again without actually even stopping to think about why, or is there an alternative? Is there something different I can do? And of course, COVID made us all stop. We all stopped and thought, well, I'd like to do something different. And this is now an opportunity. And that's to say that people are resetting what they want to do in their life. And some people are staying at home. Some people, miss the office. But, even the office has changed now. And, the people, there's only sort of a few people in the office now and things like that. And I think employers need to really find a way of enticing people back into the office and actually recreating that social environment. That really is important for humanity to have a social environment. If everybody's just working from home, we're all just talking on Zoom, really society starts to break down, I believe. I'm not a psychologist, but I have seen the effects of that, because even myself working from home for months, suddenly you're allowed to go out and you're not really sure if you want to.
Yeah.
So you start to lose your confidence. And that often happens with people in employment when they're out of the employment workforce for a while, or even if they're working from home, they find it very difficult to go back into the office.
Well, and one of the things, I was sitting around with a bunch of CEOs, and our discussion was the risk of losing staff, the difficulty in recruiting new staff, because the ratio of unemployment, and we go, unemployment's low, but that actually puts economic pressure when there's actually a skill shortage at the other end. And so then people are saying, well, I'm demanding more money, which puts more pressure on the employer, which they can't pay. But then it turns out at the moment, it's mostly a hypothetical value, but it just means it makes for awkward recruiting processes. So for the business owners, for someone who is in the employment market, that they want to employ people, the reality is, you and I had a conversation about this to go, yes, there is great risk of the Great Reset, and there's challenges in losing people, but there's opportunities in that as well, Andrew.
Yeah, huge opportunities to be different, and to offer something different to your competitors as an employer. How are you going to pick up the best people in the industry? By being a bit different, by offering something that they're not. And and it's just not money, Luke. There's so many other things and more important things, more important to people than money. Flexibility, feeling valued, feeling respected, feeling heard, feeling loved. I mean, simple little things employers can do is respond to people when they send you an employment application. Don't just say, listen, we're only going to respond to those that we're interested in. No, respond to them all, and treat people well. And, it really comes down to that, treating people well, treating your employees well. Maybe they need some flexibility. Maybe they need to work from home one day a week, maybe two. Listen to each employee and try and actually accommodate the needs of that person in their life, because we're all different. We all have different needs and different requirements. Some need more money, some need more time off. And, if you can actually adjust the business to work in that sort of environment with those needs, you can have a thriving business and happy employees, and which lead to happy customers.
One of the things we're seeing is people are leaving the cities and going to regional places, and sort of being able to work remotely helps that. But one of the parts of that is that I don't want to live the stressful, high pressure, it's all about money and things lifestyle. I want to slow down a little bit, and I want to value those things which carry more value than stuff and things and money, which is a part of the opportunity and the value that through Christian Jobs Australia, we have the opportunity as a business owner who says, I have values and I have standards and I have a character and a culture that values people over things. Then maybe that's exactly what someone's looking for, rather than an extra 20 or 30 grand a year.
Yeah, look, we've found that a lot, Luke, in terms of people wanting to do a job that really they feel makes a difference in the world. Because, with all the things that are happening in the world, people are suddenly becoming tuned in to what's happening. I've spoken to so many people who were never interested in politics, were never interested in world affairs, and now they are, because it's right in our face every day. And they're really getting involved, and they're really seeing some issues in society that they haven't really been part of, and now think, well, I'd like to actually be part of that. I'd like to have a job where I can feel that I've actually made a difference today. And we're seeing a lot of people coming to that conclusion. They're sitting at home and they're sort of searching the internet for something different, something else to do. And they want to be really treated well, and they want to do a job that really matters. So it's certainly, we've seen about a 40% increase just over the last 6 months in terms of inquiries and applications moving certainly into the Christian job type job.
I just wrote down that phrase, that concept of I made a difference today. And one of the things, when I was talking to a CEO, he said, look, we can't get anybody with skills to work for us. Even those who we can come across somewhat entitled, privileged, and aren't actually out for doing the best that they can. Except for what I know about those, the only reason those who search and go to Christian jobs are there because they're looking for something more than just a job. They're looking for a job that aligns with values. These are not the entitled. These are not the I just want to scrape through, or I want to get as much cash. These are the people looking for that. I just want to know I made a difference today.
And I think that's why employers, the employers that do advertise with us, that's the reason they do. They're looking for people who are a little bit different in terms of aligning with their values and in their worldview as well. And you do find that. I mean, we've found that many employers will say to us, we didn't get a lot of applications, but we could have hired them all. They were all terrific. And, that just warms my heart, because it's not quality, it's not quantity that matters, it's quality. And finding the right person to fit in your organization, it's just like finding, a puzzle in a million pieces. It's really difficult to find and really difficult to fit. But if you find the right person from a cultural point of view, from a skills point of view, an experience point of view, a values and morals point of view, man, they'll make a huge difference in your organisation, and you'll be looking to clone them.
Yeah, it's as someone who's gone through the applications many times over in my life, it's actually much more beneficial to have the numbers lower but the quality higher, because the amount of work you have to go through to filter it down to your shortlist, oh my gosh, it can be intimidating at times.
It's a very difficult process because it just reading a resume doesn't really cut it. And of course, most people sort of cut out of the equation at that level. They're never actually interviewed.
Yeah.
And it's really the interview that's going to really make the difference because, gosh, your head explodes just going through all these resumes because they all say exactly the same thing.
So let's then go through the criteria for Christian jobs, because obviously if a church is hiring or if a Christian organisation that is officially dubbed that, then it's an obvious place to advertise your job. But what if your workplace is just a standard business workplace, but you, as a business and as a culture, ascribe to the Christian values? Then is it still a place to advertise your jobs there?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a similar sort of thing, Luke, in terms of, parents deciding to send their children to a Christian school, but might not be of the Christian faith themselves, but can understand and respect the values and want their child to grow up with those values. Now, in an employment situation, in a workplace, that's what people are looking for as well. And if somebody's going to aspire to finding an organisation that aligns with their values and their morals, what a much happier and more productive place that will be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a church. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Christian organisation per se. We've got over 1,000 employers. And they range from, truck driving, real estate, gardening. It's across all industries. And it's just employers who are wanting to build a really loving, productive culture in their organisation. And I know you work in those sort of organisations. I work in that sort of organisation. I love it. I love it. It's something that once you get into, you never really want to get out of.
Yeah.
But having said that as well, it is, I also recognise and understand it's important that Christians also don't just get in a clique. They actually get out in the main world as well.
Yeah.
So, we do get those who say that, they feel called to work in sort of other areas other than sort of the normal Christian areas. And of course, we tap into those areas too.
I was telling you recently about some research that I was looking at that talked about and measured different industries, different careers, and the most rewarding and fulfilling roles according to some research they did. And it was a janitor role that came out of the top. And it wasn't just any janitor, it was a hospital janitor. And one of the things that had come out is these people cleaned toilets and dealt with messy stuff that none of us particularly go, wow, I can't wait to clean up this kind of mess. But the fact is it was attached to their purpose. Their purpose was to create a hygienic environment for those who were already doing it tough. And so they cleaned a toilet and they got to the end of the day and they said, I know I made a difference today because I made the world safer for that patient and for that patient and for that patient. And it was just a lesson to me of what we talked about before, is that even if you don't have the extra cash or all of the extra perks that maybe another business as a competitor has, you may just be the ability to frame the purpose to make a difference no matter what the role is you're advertising.
You ask any teacher in the world in terms of, why do they teach? Because we don't pay them that well. And it's a pretty tough job. They work long hours. But, they can actually see the value of what they're putting into people, and they're investing in people. And if you're investing in people and helping others, the rewards coming back to you are incredible. And once you've experienced that, you're seeking that all the time. You become a person that's sort of keen to sort of develop and help grow other people. And you see a lot of business owners coming out of business, moving to consulting and mentoring roles, because that's really where they have found the most benefit in their life, is sort of raising and helping others.
So if a business owner is thinking, okay, maybe I need to check this out, what would you say? Is there anything that they need to have in mind before they come and look about advertising a job at Christian Jobs?
Well, they certainly need to obviously understand their own culture and what they're looking for and what they need within their culture. Obviously, there's a skill set, but it's quite interesting. A skill set can be learned. your morals and your values and things like that. They're sort of quite innate in terms of people. So you're looking for the right person rather than the right skills. And I think quite often people, employers, tend to focus too much on skills and experience and not on people that are teachable. And you can mold and you can grow. And, the best people for the job are usually the people that haven't done the job yet. They've got something to prove. They've got something to show. Somebody who's already done the job is going to come and work for you and do the job, but, they can be quite blasé about it. It's pretty easy. But somebody who wants to have a shot. And if you can find somebody who, you will give them a shot, you'll give them a go, and they have a passion and a drive. They're the sort of people we're looking for. And, I'd say the same thing to the job seekers. Go in there with some enthusiasm and, say, I'm really excited, and be excited. If you're not excited, it's not the job for you. You'll find something else.
Well, at christianjobs.com.au, you may just make a difference today. Andrew, if you are looking for that purpose in your work, and as an employer, if you think you've got that to offer, what a beautiful match. And it's just to christianjobs.com.au, or is there a different place as the advertiser to go to?
No, that's the place, Luke. That's the place for a match made in heaven.
Love it, mate. So christianjobs.com.au. Andrew, thanks for chatting to us. This is a really important conversation because as a business owner, many people are struggling to employ the right people. But if you've got that culture, if you've got that place where someone can make a difference, christianjobs.com.au is just for you.
Thanks, Luke.